Okay, here we are. We're back. We're live. We're at Think Tech Hawaii here on a given Friday. Attila Seress to my left is the host of Next Big Thing. He's also a principal of SOS Hawaii, and he's here, I suppose, in both capacities. Welcome to the Tech Show on Friday. Attila, we're calling it Tech is our middle name.
Well, that sounds good. Frank is mine, so frankly, talking about tech is
now we
probably
know.
the thing.
Murray is mine, but nobody knows that, and I'm not telling you. Okay, anyway, Attila, so let's talk about some of the things that are going on to sort of get people current on your world in SOS Hawaii. First of all, let's talk about XP. I mean, I love XP. If I had my choice, I'd have XP on all my PC machines, not my Apple machines. But PC is coming to an end after what? How many years? 10,
years.
12 years. Fabulous. I mean, it had a good run. Sorry that it's gone. It just shows you how things move along, no matter what. What's happening?
Well, that's the thing, I don't know, you're a software developer a little bit, and as you know, it's like you're never done writing software. You can start a project, and you can keep going, and Microsoft's in the same boat. And they've been fighting this XP battle for 12 years.
What battle? What's the battle?
Everyone's trying to get into the operating systems. The entire world is trying to look for vulnerabilities in this one operating system.
Why?
Well, why not? They can steal information. If they can get inside your computer, they can overtake it and use it to take over other computers. They can use it to share resources on
Are
the
there
internet.
vulnerabilities in XP?
Of course there are, yeah. And in fact, Microsoft keeps patching them, and they're going to continue to do this. Now, by the way, just as a side note, this is something that Microsoft does from time to time. Every once in a while, they say, Windows 2000, we're done. Upgrade. 2003.
No, I mean, that's okay.
XP is
This is a
same
matter
thing.
of marketing and moving the company forward. It's the problem here is that XP, at least to most users, was a really stable, useful product. It was a lot better than the operating systems that followed. I resisted changing for a long time. I kept XP after 2 or 3 iterations beyond XP. I kept it. Yeah.
Well, a lot of people did too, and that was part of their problem, right? Is that they can't have an operating system sit out there for decades and no one upgrades. Right?
Well, the problem for Microsoft is that the operating systems that followed it was, what shall I say, garbage. And if they had made good operating systems to follow XP, we wouldn't be having this conversation at all, because people would have moved on. I would have moved on. A lot of people would have moved on. They would have forgotten XP when the next product was released.
Well, there's one side of the coin, which is whenever they release something, that there's going to be bugs, right? Because they're releasing something that's going to work on a variety of equipment, a number of different vendors, and thousands of different configurations. You don't have that problem with Apple, and that's why Apple's had a good reputation for
There are
stability.
other issues. I mean, it's good. It's
Yeah.
better than the Microsoft operating systems, but Apple is not without imperfection as well.
But less issues, and sometimes people ask me, which one do you support, Apple or Microsoft? And in my opinion, Microsoft provides jobs for people in many different areas, right? So we have hardware, we have software vendors, we have retailers.
I suppose the junkier the system, the more jobs.
Well,
It's a new way of building the economy is to create junk software so that there are lots of jobs.
GM might learn from something like this as well, But if you make a product that requires service or has lots of different configurations or provides the opportunity for lots of smaller vendors to create hardware, equipment, and software that can work on these different systems, then that's an opportunity for a lot of different people to get on board and profit from that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Apple, for the economy, Apple doesn't create that many jobs because Apple just runs.
They just work.
They just work.
But after a few years, you got up.
And after a while, we're going to have a really stagnant economy. Apple will just continue to work.
Well, and that's good, but at the same time, you have to have some sort of competition. Otherwise, what's the point, right?
You have to move on, take risks. Oh,
boy.
what's that?
Well, it's just my ringtone. It sounds like Chewbacca. I'm kind of a nerd.
Okay, you'll get over it. Age will help you. Okay, so it's coming to the end of its life. What does this mean?
Well,
XP is coming to the end of its life.
There are several things. So if you bought a Windows XP computer, there's probably a good chance that your computer is on its last leg anyway. It's an inevitable upgrade. XP hasn't been around for a long time, and it's funny because after XP came Windows Vista, which if you look on the internet seems to have disappeared. No one says, oh, we support they say we support XP, Windows 7, and Windows 8. Well, wait a minute. There was Windows Vista in the middle there. Windows Vista is a great product, and it got a lot of bad press because there was a lot of changes when they first brought it out, a lot of incompatibility issues. Hey, you know what? Things happen. You got to roll with it. And Microsoft kind of closed the book on it.
Microsoft's stock has been flat for the past 15 years.
Wow.
And part of it is that their operating systems have, what shall I say, been garbage. And I remember when Vista came out, everybody was paying extra to buy PCs which didn't have it, which had XP. You'd say, it's X dollars to buy a new computer with Vista, but it's X dollars less 10% to buy the same computer without Vista with XP, the older product. Amazing.
And you're seeing the same thing right now with Windows 7 and Windows 8. Windows 8, they completely did they redesigned the interface. It's designed for touch devices, right? Thanks to Apple, who's made that popular. And that's perfectly fine, but most people are used to seeing a start button where they click it and up comes a list of programs. That's what they've been looking at for the past 15 years. Now it's gone. Now what? Now we have this elaborate menu system and tiles and charm bars and all these things that they're not used to seeing. Windows 7 starts to sound really good. And by the way, Windows 7 is a very stable operating system. Many businesses prefer to run Windows 7 in their day-to-day operations. And Windows 8 those mostly are on home computers. They're on...
what you're describing is a huge flaw in a huge company, maybe an Achilles level flaw, that they can't manage their versions. They should be able to manage it. If Apple can manage the versions, then these guys. I mean, Apple has problems on the transition too, but nowhere near as profound as Microsoft. Anyway, enough with that. So when is it coming to an end, this XP thing?
Believe it or not, last month. It's gone. So when I say gone, that means that Microsoft already 2 years ago decided not to support this product any longer. They said, look, if you have a problem, you're on your own, find someone else. Don't call us for support. Which is fine, but they're going to continue to release security updates. Now what happens is that those security updates dry up after a period of time. They say, look, we're just tired of writing security updates for Windows XP. It's been 12 years. Go buy something else. So of course, with that deadline looming, people were really nervous to run an operating system that had no chance of being patched or upgraded or safeguarded against things that are coming up. Now, of course, there's a series of products that also protect these things, and most notably, that's Windows Defender. It's a free Microsoft antivirus product that came. It's available for all versions of Windows, and in particular, what made it attractive to businesses is that we have if you're a business with 10 or less computers, you can use this product for free. Now that's really attractive for businesses because typically you'd have to go out and buy something like Symantec's endpoint protection software, or there's Kaspersky. There's a series of other products that are out there. Of course, most notably McAfee, as you know, recently was purchased by Intel. So these kind of different products and vendors are out there to protect the systems, but they're expensive, especially for business. We're not talking about Costco grade, home grade.
Windows Defender is the product you're talking about.
Right, it's the Windows Defender.
It's free for businesses with less than, what did you say?
10 computers.
10 computers, but after that it's expensive.
Well, after that you're not supposed to be using it.
So this is a third-party product?
It is supported by Microsoft now. However, that
is it a third-party product?
No, it's a Microsoft product.
Okay.
And so they said, well, everyone's complaining about how insecure our operating system is. Fine, we'll give you antivirus for free. And sure enough, a lot of people used it. It was great. It protected the XP computers. Now, when that end of life occurred, all those XP computers popped up and said, your XP is out of date, but also your Windows Defender can no longer be updated. You're on your own. You're flying blind. And so that kind of risk really makes business owners a little uncomfortable, particularly when running these things in commercial environments where they could be compromised, and the loss of revenue or reputation damage can outweigh the cost of upgrading computers, especially as you know now, you can buy computers for less than $1,000 that are very well designed. They have a lot of capabilities. Maybe they're running a newer version of Windows, and they still are going to need some service now and then, but they're a little bit better.
This kind of drop the consumer thing, is what made Apple great. I mean, I'm not saying that Apple's perfect, but Apple falls into that niche. And all those guys that are ticked off at Microsoft for the various times they've done this to people, that creates good good business for Apple.
Well, as a side note for Apple, of course, if you go to Outer Island, because we're in Hawaii here, if you look at Outer Island state facilities such as schools and those kind of buildings, they prefer to use Apple simply because they are more reliable and don't require as much service.
And there is no service available in some of these places.
There you go.
Yeah.
So they'll pay more for a product that lasts longer.
But what about the jobs?
Jobs for
These Apples, they're not creating jobs. We need jobs in this economy, Attila.
This is true.
Don't you care about jobs? You can't run for office on that platform. Jobs.
That's the thing.
Neither federal nor state nor even county. Yeah.
And they can buy it directly from Apple, of course, and cut out any sort of local jobs that would be created by such a product. So PCs still have a good role, in my opinion, in providing a little bit more jobs for people, of course. And of course, the Apple products I think are great, but they're going to cost a lot more to a business. So if you think about a business with unlimited resources and unlimited funds, they can go out and afford to buy the best thing, whatever. But for a business that's maybe starting up, like a small accounting firm or a law firm that is cost conscious, going out and spending 3 times the price for equipment can seem a little bit inhibitive.
But you know what? When it's mission critical, this is actually totally apropos to ThinkTech's own situation. When it's mission critical, and you see something cheap on the shelf and say, "Oh, I'll solve my mission critical problem in my business or operation by getting a cheapo machine, and I'll just take what they give me." That's really a mistake. You have to have redundancy. You have to have something that isn't going to break on you. To wit, we went and got a Dell for our mixer software, and the Dell lasted 6 months, and then you know about this, and then the drive went down, the circuit, where the motherboard went down. This is 6 months old, brand new Dell off the shelf. And I'm saying to myself, and that's a PC, by the way. Dell only makes PCs.
That's true, but they do make different lines of PCs.
Well, this was relatively cheap, but it was, a nice machine. It had what we wanted. It met our specs, and all I can say is that that when you have this, you cannot rely on it. It may be cheap. It may meet your specs. It may do the job for now, but if it's mission critical, you have to have more. And what's happening is people are taking, and we did, a machine that really did not have the robust quality for the mission critical job and assumed that it would somehow live longer. 6 months. I don't care about the warranty. We were down. And that really makes me sad and mad.
Well, you know what? There's only one person you need to be mad at, and that's yourself. Because
Go ahead.
you didn't buy the right product for the right job.
How do you know the product isn't going to work?
I will tell you this.
Dell, Dell, one of the great brands in computer hardware in the world. Can't rely on them.
Well, yeah, but you can buy. There's the right tools for the right job, and you're going to find that in every industry. So you can go out and buy cheap tools to build a house, or you can buy expensive tools to build a house, and typically more expensive tools, if they don't get stolen, are going to last you a little bit longer, and you're going to get the job done.
I would have bought an Apple, for that. I would have bought an Apple, but it didn't take, the software we were using didn't run on Apple. And so I had to buy a Dell. I was forced. And now
you were supporting local jobs, or you're supporting jobs somewhere in the United States.
You ought to run for office, maybe dog catcher. What do you think?
I'd love to do a Dell catcher, but even Dell, they're going to have different lines. So the one that you purchased was a Costco special or something like that, where it was a relatively inexpensive unit meant to go into homes to be used a few hours a day, and that's about it. Now the Optiplex line or the Vostro line, the higher end line, those are going to.
How much should I have spent for this computer?
Probably about $100 more than you should have.
$100? That's all?
That's about it. And that would have gotten you the proper tools for the proper job.
Next time you have to come with me.
Yeah, of course. Now, of course, Apple skips that entire step. They just say, look, we're just going to make the best possible product. We're going to charge the most we can for it, and we're just going to skip all the middlemen, and that's going to be about it. And that's fine. That is a philosophy. And that works for a lot of people, and a lot of places can afford that kind of stuff. Imagine retailers; they can't go down for a minute or so.
Exactly.
There's a cost per hour.
And that's why the PC is such a huge disappointment. It would be different if we did not know how much better Apple was. you know, and that we, oh, well, that's what happens. They break in 6 months. What are you going to do? But we do know how Apple is. We do know that Apple doesn't break in 6 months.
I've had Apples break in 6 months. It's hit or miss. It's just like anything else. In a manufacturing environment, you're going to have a percentage of everything that you buy have a certain amount of problems with it.
No.
And that's true for anything.
It hasn't been 6 months for us. 7 or 8 months, but not 6 months, you know. Anyway, let's go on to the next step.
Well, before we do,
Yeah, what?
it's that
What
time.
is this, your watch?
Yeah, we got to go for a break. Don't we?
No. We're
Skip
going to
that?
be fine.
I'm that important. We're going to skip a break.
Compulsive type A.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll be fine. We have friends in the control room. You know
Oh.
what I mean? Let's talk about the Internet Explorer vulnerability now. It's another Microsoft thing, isn't it?
Yes, and it is timely to talk about something like this. Now, the reason, before we went into this, I wanted to talk about the XP end of life is because it does tie in directly with Internet Explorer vulnerabilities. Now, Internet Explorer has been around for a long time. Everyone knows and loves it. It's built into all the Windows operating systems. But this vulnerability affects all versions of Internet Explorer from version 6 all the way through to version 11.
Do I really care about the vulnerability? What do I care?
Well,
If it works, my browser works, if I look up something on Google, which is, wow, Google, now that's built. If I look up something on Google, so what? Do I care? It's a browser that's got a vulnerability somewhere in the back end. I don't care. Do I care?
There have always been vulnerabilities built into browsers. It's been one of those ongoing battles that every developer has. Now, one of the things that browsers are designed to be able to do is run third-party applications. In this case, the one we're talking about, the vulnerability, has to relate to Flash. I'm sure you've seen Flash. It's been around for 10 plus years, and it's been everything from small animations. It's been built in
I don't use Flash much on Apple, though.
Oh yeah, you sure you do? Yeah, it's even in my iPad. Yeah, I take a look at Flash things, and Flash has been one of those sources of contention for Apple. They decided they didn't want to support Flash. You have to do a third-party plugin to be able to do that. There are vulnerabilities with Flash, and unfortunately, the one that came out has to do particularly with versions of Internet Explorer and Flash websites. Those that have been infected by this vulnerability. What that allows them to
In
do.
fact, you're talking about some kind of virus now?
Yeah, it's a vulnerability in Flash that specifically ties to Internet Explorer. What that means.
So the vulnerability is a vulnerability in Flash, not in Internet Explorer.
It is with
it's
Flash.
a derivative in
It's a combination of the
vulnerability.
two. Those two in combination allow someone to gain full access to the computer. And in particular with Windows XP, they're not going to release any more updates. It's all wide open. So anyone using Windows XP who goes to a Flash-infected website can have their computer taken over, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Taken over, what does that mean?
Well, someone can take it over and do whatever they want to do with it.
I mean, you're sitting there, you're doing Google or whatever you're doing on this thing, all of a sudden, magic fingers are on your machine and
Sure.
taking it over, making it do things?
I've seen it happen, sure. Yeah, it
Ooh,
can
that's
definitely
creepy.
Yeah, well, it is creepy, but if you've ever called for tech support and that tech support is in a third country or a third world country, then you've probably experienced having.
I have. There's a
take
company.
over
There's a company that I forget the name right now, but it's creepy.
Well,
And then
lots
they
of
keep on coming back to you, and they call you in the middle of the night. They want to help you. I hang up on them. Yeah,
in the middle of the night.
in the middle of the night.
You're pretty
yeah.
important to them.
No, they don't have a clock. That's what it is. Anyway, so the question I suppose is, what do I do when these magic hands are taking over my system through the Flash and the XP? What do I do? Quickly, turn it off, reboot it, pour hot coffee in the top, run to Costco, get another one. What do I do?
Well, you can do all of the above, but I would not advise the coffee because liquid is conductive and you could get electrocuted.
Well, only if you're holding it.
Only for holding
I mean, people, it's like
You
the
can travel
pillows,
up,
the pillows that say, do not remove tag under penalty of law. And they got all the warnings on the computers too. But if you're not touching it, who cares?
Well,
I just pour the coffee goes in, it acts as a conductor, it shorts everything out. I feel better. I feel this is the appropriate end for this computer.
And
It deserves all that, but I'm not getting hurt.
And then you pay someone several $100s to get that data off that you forgot you had on there.
Well, I'd try to get it off first. But the problem is, what do you do exactly when the little magic fingers are manipulating your computer from somewhere far away?
Well, the first thing to do, disconnect your internet connection. If you're on a hard line, yank the cable. It's that simple. If you're on wireless, go ahead, disconnect from the wireless, or if you can't, just unplug your wireless router. that stops them dead in their tracks, and it's the easiest way to stop the thing right there. And
Then
it
you can
also-
try to get the data off there, put it, okay, so now it's stopped, and presumably this little magic finger person is no longer able to do anything.
no longer able to connect.
So, but can you get to the data there, or has it already dropped some sort of barrier or some bomb in there that prevents you from getting to your data?
Well, if they've infected your machine with something that allows them remote access to your system, then taking it to a specialist allows them to remove that software, then you're back on your way. However, you're also vulnerable. So after this has happened to you, let's presume it happens to you, you want to continue to use your computer afterwards. You take it to a professional such as myself, we clear it all out, we do our forensics on it, make sure that nothing was stolen, and then we go ahead and to give it back to you and we tell you, look, you're going to use one of two browsers. It's not Internet Explorer. Two other popular ones, of course, are Firefox and Google Chrome.
We're going to get to that. You know, I've been, ranting about Microsoft in the hardware department. Now we're going to rant about Microsoft in the browser department right after this short break. That's Attila Seress, and I think today he's speaking mostly on behalf of SOS Hawaii, soshawaii.com if you want to check it out. This is Think Tech Hawaii, and our show today on Friday, a little special tech show, is called Tech is Our Middle Name. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Martin Despang, and I'm the host together with the one and only Ali Amash. Our show is called Urban Transcendence.
How much time you want?
Urban Transcendence is about identifying
40
the
seconds.
unique
We'll be
situation
right
of
back.
a vibrant city in one of the most beautiful natural environments. So
we
how
did
these
this.
two can
This is good. It gives me a
coincide,
chance to talk finally.
sometimes conflict.
Yeah, no,
how they
asking
could
questions
find
is no fun.
reciprocity in the 21st century.
Well,
is
you know.
what
Okay,
we're
20
excited
seconds.
about.
Both are fun.
We're planning on bringing in a diverse body of
Gives me a chance to
guests,
rant.
both
I feel like
from
I
the
need
arts
to
and
rant
the
more.
science,
Well, you
and
can start
the
with a rant.
established and the wise and the emerging generation. So hope you will join us. We'll always be on
5 seconds.
Thursdays from 1 to 2 p.m.
Okay, we're back. We're live. Here we are. Think Tech Hawaii. Tech is our middle name. Actually, I mean, it doesn't sound right. If I say it's Think Tech Hawaii, well, it is Think Tech Hawaii, and Tech is our middle name. If I say Think Tech, then Tech is our last name. I'll be clear about that. And Attila Seress here from SOS Hawaii. He's also a host on the Friday 4 to 5 in the Next Big Thing. So let me just make my point that I was, approaching before the break, Attila, and that is Internet Explorer. I gave it up like high button shoes, a long time ago, like buggy whips. Internet Explorer, oh, what a program, awful. And it was slow, clumsy, all these vulnerabilities. And first I went to, what do you call it, Firefox?
Firefox, right?
Which I found was very good. And then when I got, exposed to Apple, I went to
Safari,
which I think is even better because they're light, they're fast, don't need I don't know what Internet Explorer gives you in the way of this heavy back-end, clumsy, kind of like molasses kind of thing they have. But why in the world can this biggest Microsoft company of all, the company worth how many hundreds of billions of dollars that made Bill Gates into Bill Gates, why can't they invent they had litigation with the other one, remember the other one?
Netscape, yeah.
Andreessen, and a big fight
Mark
with
Andreessen, right?
Mark Andreessen.
Yeah.
Netscape, and a big fight, and they got nailed with some kind of antitrust in Europe, and actually in this country, Samuel Penwood Jackson wrote a big decision against them about linking their Internet Explorer with their operating. Remember that?
Mm-hmm. And it still continues to this day.
Yeah. Okay. What I'm saying is, why can't Microsoft write a decent browser? What's the problem?
Compatibility. That's really what it's come down to. It's taken years for Chrome to really come up as a viable browser. I've been using
that's
Chrome.
Google, isn't it?
That's Google's Chrome. Firefox has been around for a long time too, and now it's starting to get bogged down with some of that legacy code that the Internet Explorer browsers had to deal with also.
Yeah.
So you got to remember one thing about Microsoft, and this is the one I'm going to offer a Microsoft defense. They have
It's
to
okay.
write,
Well, somebody has to.
somebody has to. I mean, they have to write.
You're a
piece of
Microsoft
software.
certified engineer anyway.
That's correct.
You have an obligation to offer a defense, yeah?
Well, and offer defense, but I also
They're
work on
listening, by
Macs
the way.
all the time.
And your future of SOS Hawaii depends on what you say right now, Attila. This is going on YouTube.
I've done this before. It's okay. It's okay, Jay. You can't scare me. But one thing about Microsoft, they have to write an operating system that's going to work on every crazy bit of hardware and software configuration that's out there. They also have to write an internet browser that's going to work correctly on billions of websites and growing daily. How do you do that?
No, the websites have to write it consistent with the browser, not the browser with the websites. Huh?
Well, try telling that to developers. A lot of these guys have had legacy websites.
You
for decades.
remember in the old days when they first started writing websites, and you had to make sure you had to make if-then statements and case statements in order to comply with all the different browsers. To me, it's the browser has to be ubiquitous. I mean, it has to be completely general and allow everybody in, and all the browsers should have the same. And my sense of it is that what'd you write down there? How to listen to ThinkTech?
Yeah, it's not hard.
Oh, okay.
It's supposed to be more low key about it.
Okay. All right. Anyway, Attila, I made my point.
Well, and that's the thing is if you're going to have a piece of software or product and you expect it to work in every crazy scenario, you're going to have to write it accordingly, and so it's gonna have some bloat, and it may not work as well with other things. But I'll tell you this: when push came to shove and the Chrome browser came out, and I wanted to buy some airline tickets, guess what I used?
Chrome browser.
It wasn't Chrome. It was Internet Explorer.
Why?
Because it had been time tested. We knew that my credit card information, or should I say, I felt confident that my credit card information wouldn't be intercepted along the way. I felt confident that if I went through the sales process of buying my airline tickets, I would get all the way through the sales process. Not so with Google Chrome. And so it took some time for Chrome to get there in terms of security.
And what about now? Suppose you bought tickets now.
Now Chrome is okay. But now guess what?
What's the browser of choice?
Well, for me, browser of choice is Google Chrome. However, to be fair, guess what? Now it's becoming a big bloated animal. And guess what? Firefox is also now becoming a big bloated animal. So now you need
that's true.
500 meg to a gig extra just to run any of these two programs. Just if you want to listen to.
So
Pandora
Safari looks better and better because it's light and fast.
Well, they have some of the same issues as well. I have Safari crashing on me all the time. If I try to watch a YouTube video or watch listen to Pandora and check my email at the same time, guess what? It's not that quick anymore.
Maybe somebody else should come in and write a new, fresh one, and take care of all these problems and stop with the bloat.
There's lots of other browsers out there, and there are extensions and forks of existing browsers because, as you know, the Firefox code, that is open source, so other developers can come along and write other browsers based on that. There's Opera browser, which is...
Opera, haven't heard of that in a long time.
Yeah, it's still around, it's great. They have a great mobile browser. There was, in fact, a couple of years ago...
Would you use Internet Explorer today?
Internet Explorer today?
Today.
For certain things, yeah. But I'm still I'm a Chrome fanatic. I really like Chrome.
Okay.
And you know why I really like Chrome also? Some of these extensions. Can we talk about extensions?
Yes, we should first define what it is.
Okay, perfect. So, extensions on a browser are just like add-ons for Internet Explorer. What that allows you to do is take third-party applications, kind of like apps for your iPad, and stick them inside your browser. So everything from ad blocking apps, to caching apps, to SEO tracking apps, those kind of things can be added in as extensions into your browser. And Google Chrome, I think, has got the best extensions library out there. Firefox is good, but I found some really buggy extensions out of it. So I can now go on to my
These
Gmail.
are third-party extensions,
These
or
are
are they
third-party
indigenous extensions?
There are third-party extensions. So typically when I set up a new Chrome install, I'm going to put in an ad block extension so that they can go ahead and watch YouTube videos without all those nasty ads popping up and taking over. They can listen to Pandora without those ads coming
I
in
can
and
cut
taking
out
over.
the ads in YouTube with
Yeah,
an
of course.
extension.
Yeah,
That's pretty useful.
yeah, it's really useful.
What does Google think about that?
Google thinks that they should buy one of these ad blocking companies, and they did. And
Yeah.
they paid them a bunch of money to...
And made them go away.
Well, they said you can continue to operate. You're just going to allow ads from YouTube. And, so of course, a dozen other ad blocking ones popped up, and so now people use those. But
Boy, it's a jungle out there.
But the idea is, you can now do your browsing, and there's a huge browsing difference. If you bring up Internet Explorer and you go to, say, Yahoo, you're going to see, on average, I think it's between 11 and 16 ads on one page. You bring up Google Chrome, all gone. So all those ads kind of disappear. And you forget what the experience is like online.
This is by
without
way of the
ads.
extensions, then.
By way of the extensions, exactly. And these
Okay.
ad blocking extensions are available not only through for for Chrome, but they're available through Firefox. And these ad blocking proxies are also available on mobile devices. So you can block the ads on your Android tablet.
What about all the guys who are putting all the money into the ads? This is irritating for them. You know, they actually pay for these ads.
I believe that less than 2% of all people out there are going to know about this stuff and really use it. Most of the people can go in and they're going to do what they're going to do, and the ads are still going to come through, and they're just going to put up little mental, what's the best way to put it? Mental sinkholes, so that the ads just
right. So block it with your mind.
Right.
Yeah.
Kinda
Well,
like
I don't frankly care, and furthermore, I don't care about extensions. I just want it to work. I want to open a lot of windows. You know, I don't want it to crash when I open 10 windows or more, but I don't want to spend a lot of time tweaking my browser. My browser is like, you know, basic, let's just get it done, workhorse kind of program. I don't care to know anything beyond, you know, calling up a window. That's it. So the people, you said 2%, yeah? People don't care. They don't care. Extensions, they don't care. Yeah. And somebody goes to a lot of trouble to build these, but who cares?
Well, and you have to remember, there's different types of people out there. There are some people who are perfectly happy just being handed something and they just go with it, and whatever imperfections are out or with that product, they just accept it. Yeah. And then there are people such as myself who feel that
power users.
Well, who feel that it could be better, and we can do something about it, and are always seeking to find better ways of doing things. And if there's a way to remove ads in my face, I'm happy to do that. If I want to sit down with my son and look at the internet, I don't want to have to worry about inappropriate ads. Or
extensions that take out the porn.
Well, that's not what I'm looking at with my son. But,
well, okay.
We do learn about
you let your son watch the porn? I didn't know that. I'm sorry. And this is family TV here.
Well, it's good that the words came out of your mouth. But you know, we were learning about metamorphosis. You know, how butterflies come from caterpillars, and you know, we're learning about how tadpoles turn into frogs, and you know, there's
what's that got to do with extensions?
Well, there were ads along the side of my iPad when I was trying to do it, and this was with the Safari browser. So of course we brought up the Android tablet, our Samsung, and that one didn't have all the ads in there, and it was a much better experience. So you know, if you have kids, if you intend on using any presentation-based material, and you know, if I were to bring up.
If this was going to help me get my job done. In other words, for example, as I said before, Google, great program, because you put it in and it thinks with you, right? So I gotta do research. I gotta find what's going on. I gotta get something out of the web. If you told me there was an extension out there that would help me get that out of the web fast, you know, a good search really is everything, and there's nothing else that matters actually. Or to let some software as a service program run, you know, some net program run so that it runs well. I'd be interested in that, but beyond that, I'm not sure I care about the extensions. Are there any programs that are extensions that help me do faster searches, that help me open more windows, that help me, you know, run software as a service type sites that, you know, work better?
Well, typically extensions from private developers such as Citrix, they will put in, you know, their extensions into the browser, and they'll give that as an option. So that's for a specific line of business app. But to address your previous concern as to what is the best way to actually harvest data off the internet if you're trying to do research or trying to learn about something, it's important to note that search engines are ubiquitous. They're synonymous with what the internet is. See, Google took this big pile of data and they made sense out of it, and they were the first to do so, to do it well, really. And so when...
Are you saying there are others now that do as well as Google search?
Well, of course, Bing has been doing great work, and you know, their image search was superior to Google's for a little while, and then Google changed their thing. So there is a little bit of a race. There is an issue now of privacy that's starting to become of public concern. In particular, when you do any sort of search, that can be matched with your geolocation, that is matched with your previous...
NSA type thing.
Well,
where my search terms reveal my thought process and we don't want NSA knowing my search terms because it would therefore know my search, what I'm interested in my life.
Well, the NSA and Google and lots of advertisers are interested in finding specific demographics for certain people out there. If they want to get you a specific product, they don't want to waste their dollars trying to send it to me. They want to send it to the correct target audience, and it's now unprecedented that with the combination of Facebook, the Google Plus, and many of the other services out there, they're able to combine all that data into a very comprehensive profile, which can then be sold. And particularly,
you have a problem with that? I don't have a problem with that.
well, it all depends on who you are. I mean,
Why would you have a problem with that? I mean, for example, I go on B&H Photo. I love B&H Photo. Great website, great store, great company, great everything. And when I go on there, it says, we know what you want. Here's some products we think you'll want.
That's right.
And it's based on my experience with them and wherever else they get it. And that really helps me. I don't have to fool around. I know we have a relationship. They know what I want. This is amazing. It's like having a friend in space. And speaking of which, we're going to take a short break. Okay, this is Think Tech Hawaii. Tech is our middle name. And also, we're talking about 57 ways to listen to Think Tech. We're going to do that. Yeah. And Attila Seress is my co-host guest from SOS Hawaii. He's also the host of Next Big Thing. We'll be right back after this very short break.
Hi, my name is Dr. Rafi. Every week, I'm right here at Think Tech Hawaii, 3 p.m. on Mondays. My show is Boris' Bio Briefings. What do we do here? Well, we watch sperm swim. We see if they catch anybody. We check out the latest biosimilars. You know, the kind that, what was his name, the guy with the bicycle? I guess we forgot his name, but he was taking EPO and other human growth factors. We'll be talking about human growth factors. You want to know where to get some? Maybe I'll tell. Anyway, you can catch me, as I said, every week right here, Monday, 3 p.m., Think Tech Hawaii, Dr. Rafi. You can also find me on Twitter, BioInfoMedical. Or you can catch me on Facebook, Dr. Rafael Boritzer. I'll be happy to converse with you.
We got to talk all day about this, though.
Okay, we're back. We're live. We're hot here at Think Tech. Tech is our middle name with Attila Seress and SOS Hawaii talking about the web and all these developments, you know, things you may need, maybe you don't need. All these things you should know about.
Of course you need it.
Okay, what about this ad brokering business that you mentioned during the break? What is that?
Sure. So you were talking earlier about how Amazon, or how there's profile information. So it's kind of like a public profile that's been created about you based on either your shopping habits, keywords in your emails, what you searched on in Google, and they kind of create these profiles for you. Now those profiles, you mentioned you had no problem with that, but what if I told you that I went to Amazon and I paid $10 for a coffee maker, and you went to Amazon and you saw the same coffee maker for $15? Now, of course, you don't get a very good coffee maker for $15, but
whatever.
The point is that you have now been given a higher price because of perhaps your status. You know, they figured out that Jay is an attorney, Jay is of a higher age demographic, he probably has higher income, he can buy the $15.
If they were doing that to me, I would be hugely ticked off.
And many people were, and it was in the news probably about a year ago. And so if you Google that, I'm sure you can figure out all the details about that. But that's really what happens. So when you go to Amazon, and Amazon's a perfect example of this, before even the web page comes up, which, as you know, comes up like that, right? Before that comes up.
If you're using Safari, it does.
Safari, or your iPad, right?
Okay.
There you go. So when you go to that website, then Amazon says, oh, this is Jay. What does Jay have? Oh, well, Jay's in this demographic in terms of age. This is his probable income. These are the interests that he likes. Jay probably likes coffee makers, and he probably likes, cameras. So this is who we have. Now that information is sent out into the internet, into what looks like a stock market. And it's like a profile broker exchange. And then all the big retailers are on there. And, Walmart is on there, and Target's on there. And they say, we got coffee makers on sale. And then Walmart will say, we got cameras on sale too. Why don't we bid on this? Now, of course, this is all automatic, and this is happening in a fraction of a millisecond. That information then, they bid on your profile, and whoever's the highest bidder,
then they lay a high price on you.
You get the ad.
It's like the marketplace going wild. Usually the bidding is supposed to get you the lowest price, But now these guys are bidding against you to bid a higher price. I really find that offensive. But maybe that's the way things going. On the other hand, if I found Amazon, I'm saying this with cold, dead steel in my voice, if I found that Amazon was doing that to me, I would no longer shop at Amazon. And I suppose they got some real damage when this came out in the press a year ago, eh?
Yeah, people got over it. You know, Amazon is a very progressive company. They always try to delight the customer. And in fact, the next Holy Grail is about to come from Amazon. So maybe I'll just drop this bomb. So Amazon is trying to do the one thing that's going to change the entire online retail space.
Which is robots.
Almost. You're almost there. It is same-day delivery. So you buy a pair of shoes, you get that pair of shoes the same day. So whatever
how do you
logistical.
do that?
Well,
Shoe factory, next block.
you could do distribution centers in different places. Of course, Hawaii, there's a unique set of challenges here, so it may or may not work. But the idea is that they're trying to become the place where you buy something and you get it the same day. Now, Zappos has been able to successfully do that with shoes to a certain extent, where they promise next day delivery and then it comes, say, by midnight that same night. And that's really been one of their hallmark things. But Amazon is trying to do that entirely. Now, one of the experiments, of course, that they had that had some really good press was the unmanned aerial drones that would be able to deliver packages.
So actually, it was bad press, but hey.
Bad press? Well,
Yeah, because
I
the
think
FAA
it's
is not going to let them do that.
never.
No.
And it's too bad because that would really change the landscape of some of the way that mail is delivered, the packages are delivered. I think it's very cool stuff. But anyways, that's a little bit of a side note. So that's what Amazon's trying to do. They're really trying to get something that you buy there that same day. And once that occurs, it's over for everyone else. Walmart's going to have to follow suit. Best Buy's going to
Well,
have
it's
to follow
so
suit.
interesting. It all started out with brick and mortar, and it winds up with brick and mortar. You know, distribution center close to your house. Isn't that incredible?
Well, that's what
Next
Netflix
thing
is
you
doing,
know,
yeah.
next thing you know, you'll stand up, you'll walk out the door, you'll go to the distribution center and buy it.
Well, the hopes in 3D printers is that you're going to be able to actually get the product printed out for you. And so whatever product that you actually purchase, you can miraculously print it out in the same way that, I don't know if you've seen Star Trek. Star Trek, they have this, you say coffee hot, and then coffee mug materializes, and there's hot coffee. You can drink
This
it.
tastes like it came off a 3D printing press.
There you go.
I don't want that coffee. Okay, we're going to switch gears now, okay? We did consider saying 57 ways to listen to Think Tech, and I think that's important on this show where tech is our middle name. So it strikes me every day when I turn on my radio in my car and I listen to various stations, including some of our competitive news stations, that you got to go another step to listen to Think Tech. But there's pretty good content here. You know, even us, even you, Attila, pretty good content. And we, interesting people and new ideas that you don't read, or see in the conventional press. So we have got to make sure that people understand how they can get that while they're driving in their car, whatever. So I'm thinking there's two things. I'd like your advice on this. One is with a new car, you get a little 1/8" jack. It's got two 1/8" plugs, and one of them goes in your phone, and one of them goes in the radio device, because the new cars have radios with this jack, and that connects, your phone to your radio, and it'll play whatever is on your phone, and you can listen to Think Tech on thinktechhawaii.com or on Spreaker.com/thinktechhawaii.com. Or for that matter, you can get the sound off youtube.com/thinktechhawaii. Okay, so that's what I'm thinking. And for cars that are older, and there are older cars, sort of like, call them the XP cars, if you don't mind. The older cars, then you got to get some kind of gizmo that will actually broadcast your signal off your phone into your radio on some frequency that still works. And then for that, you got to spend a little more. It can't be a wire with two male jacks. It's got to be some kind of device to broadcast, but not too much more, because I think you can get them for about $30, something like that. You plug it into the cigarette lighter for power. You plug it into the phone to broadcast. You got to change the dial to that special frequency, whatever it is, and now you're listening in pretty much the same way. And with those steps, you can listen to Think Tech from your phone on your car radio. What am I missing? We got to make this easy for people.
Well, I'm going to start with your first statement, which was you're driving in your car listening to the FM radio. You are a dying breed. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't listen to their radio in the car, and this is one of the challenges with all radio broadcasters, and this is why ThinkTech is very progressive in doing things mostly online. It's because we have these very powerful devices that have, what I would say, 1 million times the processing power of the ships that took us to the moon, and they're in our pocket. We have these little square computers that can last a day and can do practically anything, and we're walking around with these, and then we have these cars. Now, your car, I know I've been in your car. Your car is a little bit of a newer car than my car, but even my car has little headphone jack. So
No,
yes,
mine doesn't have that.
yours doesn't have that.
No.
Well, you got to upgrade. Go for the higher
yeah.
end.
I guess I
higher
could
end
get a new
Lamborghini,
car so I
yeah.
can get the headphone jack, but it doesn't seem like it's a worthy expense.
Well, all the newer vehicles usually come with Bluetooth, so that even goes one step
Oh,
further.
Bluetooth, forgot that,
So
yeah.
Bluetooth is in there, and in fact, one of the big investments that Ford made in all of their technology, it's been a technology push. That's what Ford did when they were having some financial troubles a few years ago. So all the new cars have a lot of fancy electronic stuff, everything from the automatic doors and lift gates to all the sophisticated Bluetooth and also the Bluetooth integration. So that way you're not driving around with headphones or Bluetooth headsets. I don't know if you've noticed, but if you do go to any electronics retailer, there 2 or 3 years ago, there used to be a whole aisle of Bluetooth headsets. Now you'll have maybe 5 or 6.
Why?
People aren't buying them. They're paying in the tuchus, and they get lost. I go through Bluetooth headsets, or I did, probably about once a month, and dropping $100, $150 on a Bluetooth headset once a month is an expensive habit. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. It's another thing to charge. It hurts your ear. I hate it. So Bluetooth is the best way to do it in terms of connecting your physical device to the audio in your car.
But your car radio has to be outfitted for that.
Well, what you mentioned also was, for a car such as yours that doesn't have either Bluetooth or doesn't have a headphone jack, there's something called an FM transmitter.
Mm-hmm.
And the FM transmitter uses in between radio station frequencies to go ahead and broadcast the content from your phone directly to your FM dial.
Yeah, I was talking about that.
Now, the problem that you have with that is that unfortunately you have frequency drift. So as you drive, and I've learned this from using this technology myself many years back, as you drive, you're going to get other frequencies bleeding into the frequency that you're broadcasting on. So
FM as well?
FM as well, but in particular with FM, of course, because no one wants to listen to anything in AM, and we broadcast in very high quality, so why not?
Sure.
Give our viewers
And
the
we
best
want to give
possible
people that
experience.
benefit, sure.
Yeah. So you're gonna have that drift or overlap of an existing FM station come into that broadcast stream, and it's going to get kind of annoying. So realistically speaking, it's not a very good solution. In fact, you can't even buy those things other than online and with Amazon. You're not going to find that in a lot of local
That's the thing.
retailers.
I want it to be easy. I want to be able to tell them, and you have 2 minutes to do this. So focus to tell them what's the easiest way is to listen to ThinkTech while they're driving. Because people in this state, they drive a lot of hours, they sit in traffic a lot of hours. It's a captive audience. And every time I think of somebody sitting behind the wheel, captive to, say, FM radio and not have, ThinkTech as an option, I feel bad. I want to give them the opportunity to listen to ThinkTech.
I think the best choice and the thing that's built into every single device is the YouTube app. You're going to find that on Android devices. You're going to find that on iOS devices. If you ride a bus, I know we skipped the bus riders, but there's a lot of people who ride public transportation. If you do step onto a bus, you'll see that everyone there has a smartphone, and they all have headphones, and they're always listening to things. So rather than expect them to download a podcast or an app or anything else, just launch the YouTube app. Go ahead and put in ThinkTech Hawaii. You're going to find all of our broadcasts there, and you can browse to find out what's the most appropriate, thing that you're probably going to be interested in watching. If you want to watch Next Big Thing, just go ahead and put in NBT. If you want to watch Jay Fidell talk about things, just put in Fidell. That's all there is to it. And then you can listen to it and watch it directly on your headphones, or if it's already connected to your car, whatever car you have, however you have it connected. I know you do. I know you have it connected. If you're driving, you cannot drive legally without having this thing connected to the audio system in your car.
Keep your hands off it.
Yes, exactly. You got to keep the hands off it. In fact, that law really cut into one of my favorite pastimes, which was shaving while driving. It's also illegal now. So any electronic
What kind
device,
of a razor do you have? Is it made by Samsung
it's
or Apple?
It's an electric razor, you know, but it is not an Apple razor. But they should make one. They'd probably make a very good one, actually.
Probably would, yeah. And included in the cell phone. In the bottom of the cell phone, have a few blades that vibrate back and forth. No reason. And the other side of the cell phone would be an egg timer. Yeah, I mean an egg cooker. Toshiba.
Well,
Yeah.
there's also different cell phones. You know, I particularly like HTC for one particular reason, is that they're known for having the best speaker phones on the market by far. The speakerphone on this little brick is much better than an iPhone speakerphone, and
Better than a Samsung?
Yes, and better than the Samsungs. They just have, you know, really good sound. So I've always been a fan of HTC for that reason. I like speakerphones, and so I can just simply, you know, turn
Drop
on
this on the
ThinkTech.
seat next to you, put on the
That's it.
speakerphone. You don't need the radio. All you got to do is have a moment where you can actually select ThinkTech.
Or think about it, if you're sitting on the beach relaxing, you're not in your car, you still want to listen to ThinkTech. You don't want to get you know, headphone sun lines from the sun. You know.
Headphone sun lines.
Headphone sun
You
lines.
heard it here on ThinkTech about headphone sun lines. Okay, well that's good. And I suppose those are the things that appeal to me. The good speakerphone so when you select your smartphone, get an HTC or a good speakerphone, and just play it, or get a set of headsets, and then you go to thinktechhawaii.com. Or youtube.com/thinktechhawaii or spreaker.com/ and thinktechhawaii, and you can listen to our stuff.
Now, of course, what if you're at home? You remember that little gizmo that you purchased? What was that? The little Bluetooth box?
Yeah, yeah,
Pretty cool, huh?
yeah.
So there's a variety of vendors that make that, everything from Bose to even Jawbone has one, and that's a Bluetooth speaker. And you can charge it up, and then within, I believe, 30 feet of your phone, you can go ahead and stream ThinkTech. And so while you're washing dishes, you can listen to ThinkTech. While you're watching TV,
Stream it onto what?
You can stream it onto that little Bluetooth-enabled.
Oh, the
speaker.
Bluetooth box.
Yeah.
Seen that a lot lately. Actually, that's all over the place.
You have one here
Various,
somewhere,
yes, I
yeah.
do. Yes, various manufacturers are making it, becoming a popular item. So that'd be worthwhile. I want to put this stuff on a website. Maybe you can put it on your website where you're all that tech stuff in SOS Hawaii. That's Attila Seress. He runs SOSHawaii.com. You can find him at Manoa Innovation Center and various other places. He's also the host of our Next Big Thing show, which is usually at 4 to 5 on Friday. This is Think Tech Hawaii. I'm Jay Fidell. Tech is our middle name. And there are 57 ways to listen and look at Think Tech. Thanks very much for joining us this week. We'll see you next week. We're going to talk on Monday at 1 to 2 about the SOEST show. We'll have some award-winning student researchers there from UH Manoa. You'll be interested in meeting them. Aloha. Thanks, Attila.
Thank you.